The Scorn see us all as enemies, attacking and killing Hive and...
Eris, we're in position. Where are we headed?
Your destination lies deep within the fortress, Guardian, in the Apothecary Wing. There you should find a particular shard of crystal. Before her lucent transformation, Savathun was in the custody of the Awoken, securely bound within a crystalline cell. Or so it seemed.
So this crystal is a piece of her former prison, which means it was likely on her when she stole the light.
Yes. My source believes the events leading to her escape are intrinsically linked to the mystery before us now.
Around here.
Eris, what's the situation?
Guardian is en route to the object in question now, Commander.
Good. You sure this will get us the answer? We can't afford another dead end.
The Queen of the Reef does not share information lightly.
Mara Song gave you the tip? You didn't mention that before.
I did, in fact, mention it. To Ikora, moments before he interrupted us. She agreed there was no more reliable source on this matter than Savathun's former captain.
I bet this house was just a useful the last one. Why?
I trust her. She plays her cards too close to her chest. If she had shared this earlier, we wouldn't be so desperate now.
To win against the high god of cunning and pride, it's best not to show one's hand too early. cast her realm in a lucent sheen, but remnants of dark architecture still lurk underneath.
And the Guardian's new ability reveals these hidden remnants. Yes, Ikora explained. Why can't we use the light to achieve the same result?
The light may be a powerful force, but when dealing in illusions, it has proven insufficient. It is the mind that must bend to see the truths hidden here. Thus, darkness can show the way.
My only fear is where that way will lead us.
Alright, Guardian, let's focus. To find the way forward, we need a sword and something to smash with it.
You've done well honing the gift granted to you by the Black Fleet, Guardian. Do you see now, Commander, why Ikora chose as she did? For all her doubts, she knew only darkness, channeled by a strong mind, could bring us this far.
I understand. My issue isn't with the call Ikora made, but the fact that she made it on her own. We know how Savathun operates. She singles people out for a reason. There's no need to make her job any easier. And Eris, I think you know better than anyone that darkness is not a path to be forged alone.
She wasn't alone. No, I take your point.
This is definitely the apothecary wing. Somehow, it feels even creepier in here.
We're trespassing on testing grounds for the Lucent Hive's most wretched experiments. Savathun likely appointed one of her High Council wizards to keep watch over this place. Find them. The crystal is sure to be nearby.
No signs of a crystal so far. Just rows and rows of jars filled with... Is that light? But it's tainted somehow.
Savathun has always encouraged her wizards to push boundaries of Hive magic. It seems that hasn't changed with the light. That corruption has far less to do with the power than light channels.
Or the power has permanent side effects. Darkness transforms Savathun into kin from prey to predators.
Not darkness itself, but an entity behind it corrupting the Hive. Conditions their power on an endless blood hive. Their fate is not inevitable.
I doubt that some people of darkness will listen. But those who can't, they're not the only ones to pay the price.
This is an inverted realm. Explore any and all directions, especially those you least suspect.
Looks like we're interrupting something. Who's the wizard overseeing all this? We found the one in charge around here. The wizard just fled.
They're closing ranks around the crystal.
There's the crystal guardian. Time to finish this.
Devotion inspires bravery. Bravery inspires sacrifice. And sacrifice.
That was Savathun, all right. But what does that mean?
This is the evidence we've been seeking all along. Ikora's instincts were correct, after all.
Indeed. But we don't have our answers yet. Go unlock the memory guardian. Then let's see if this cracks the case.
I've read some of Ikora's notes on the darkness and the light, Guardian. She thinks the darkness is closely linked with memory. You accessed this place with the darkness power. What exactly have we tapped into here?
before it happened. My own death, brought on by the separation from my power. And in these final moments, I look to the sky. Hello, old friend. I've chased you for a long time. First as an enemy, then as a collector, and finally, now, a supplicant. What is it the Guardians say? Devotion inspires bravery. Bravery inspires sacrifice. And sacrifice... Here we are. Wouldn't it be clever of you if after everything, you simply let me die? What a trick. Elegant. Is that it? If there is an answer, I don't hear it. Because now the world begins to fade. Incredible that I could forget something like that, isn't it? Such a storied life, erased. The light offers us a fresh start. But if we don't know where we came from, how will we know where to go? I'm so grateful to you for reminding me, for telling my story.
Wait. What is she talking about?
She remembers. We helped her remember.
Thanks for the memories, Guardian.
We have to leave. I knew Ikora had nothing to do with Savathun having the light. But the truth is so much worse. I don't understand how the Traveler could choose her the same way it chose you. We need to talk to Zavala.
Do we have any golfers in here right now? Come on, golfing enthusiasts, stand up and make some noise. Now, if you're a golfer who loves to hit on the cart girl, keep making noise, and please, for the love of God, check yourself into Arkham Asylum ASAP.
Please don't thank me.
Thank you.
I am being dangerous. You do recognize that you are absolutely stunning, right?
I just saw this golden nugget here today, and I've got to show you perhaps the most aggressive and most inefficient Riz ever captured on camera. Now, to briefly explain what a cart girl is to those who might not know, it's an employee of the golf course like me. You see, I can understand your beauty doth has tingled my very soul. It is exhilarating, exquisite, even the subtle vicissitudes of love blossoming on the course. 18 holes, 18 souls, bound together, you know what I'm saying? He is trying so hard to do the classic nice guy thing. I'm not like most men, not like most men. They become monkeys. Me? Nope. Definitely not doing that. I just love you. I'm just in love with you. Do you know that? I think you are absolutely beautiful, and you have my heart. I will actually die for you if you ask me to do so. Did you know that? Because I love you. Why are you not reciprocating these feelings right now? Why are we not going back and forth with this? Do you not feel the same? What did I do wrong? Huh? You hate me? Oh, you hate me, do you? Okay.
I'm going to miss you. I want to enjoy every moment, and I hate knowing that this moment is going to end. You have beautiful golfing in front of me.
Something you gotta really stop and smell the roses about. Like, I got beautiful golfing in front of me here, going 45 over par on the daily. But I also have something beautiful right here. You. And, you know, I'd really like to kind of just stay over here in this beauty, you know what I mean? You're leaving? Oh, okay. No, yeah, okay, you're leaving? All right. Now, I think there is a strong lesson here, a good takeaway for those watching at home. Don't be like this guy. Not just on the golf course, you know, like, this guy, he's shanking the drives when it comes to flirting. Like, these are some really rough slices. And this kind of tactic will be bad no matter where it is deployed here. Like, aggressively yelling compliments at a woman, like, to her face, that's just going to be perceived as, like, a threat. Like,
Apple was the most valuable company in the world from 2021 to 2023, but in 2024 they fell to second place, with Microsoft claiming the title for half the year. And now in 2025, Apple has fallen to third place, behind Nvidia and Microsoft. In just 4 months, Apple's value shrank by 28%, amounting to a $1.1 trillion loss. Overpriced iPhones have led to stagnant sales, lack of innovation has allowed competitors to catch up, and their anti-competitive business practices has earned them several lawsuits. So how did this happen? Well, Apple's greed resulted in profit taking priority over products. It was a slow transition that began in 2011, when Steve Jobs stepped down as Apple's CEO and gave the job to Tim Cook. He famously told Cook to, quote, "Not ask what would Steve do, just do what's right." The problem is, what's considered right depends on who you ask. To Jobs, great products were the secret to Apple's success. He proved this in the late 90s when the company faced bankruptcy. At the time, prominent figures like Gil Amelio and Michael Dell shared how they would save Apple. Examples included breaking up the company, selling off their hardware division, or even shutting down Apple entirely and returning money to shareholders. The most interesting piece of advice came from Oracle CEO Larry Ellison. He was a close friend of Jobs and advised him to move away from hardware and focus on software instead, since those were the companies making the most money. Microsoft, for example, enjoyed a profit margin of about 80%, while Apple's hovered around 35%. But Jobs created his own plan to save Apple from bankruptcy, one centered entirely on hardware. He cut Apple's portfolio of about 20 different computer models to just 4, with the first being a consumer desktop called iMac. It went on to become Apple's best-selling computer at the time, helping fuel long-term profitability and restore shareholder confidence. Had Jobs followed the advice of those around him, we may have never seen products like the iMac, iPod, or even iPhone, since Apple would have likely abandoned hardware and become a software and services company instead. When it came to Apple's stock price, Jobs didn't really worry about it. During a Q&A session in 1997, he said, "What we need to do is keep our eye on the prize. That's turning out great products and communicating with our customers, then the stock price will take care of itself." To his credit, that's exactly what happened. When returning to Apple in 1997, the stock price was 10 cents. In 2011, 14 years later, he left Apple with a stock price of $11.50, growing the company by 11,400%. Great hardware is exactly what fueled this unprecedented growth, with Apple releasing the iMac, iBook, iPod, iPod mini, MacBook, iPhone, and iPad. That's a major new product release about every other year. Now, that doesn't mean Jobs didn't care about Apple's valuation. He famously sent a company-wide email in 2006 when their market cap surpassed Dell, saying, quote, "Team, it turned out that Michael Dell wasn't perfect at predicting the future. Based on today's stock market close, Apple's worth more than Dell. Stocks go up and down, and things may be different tomorrow, but I thought it was worth a moment of reflection today." Then, in 2010, when Apple surpassed Microsoft, he sent out a similar email. But that wasn't because Jobs thought market cap was the best indicator of success. It was just proof that his hardware-focused business strategy, which many others advised against, had not only worked, but outperformed the competition. In fact, Apple was doing so well that by the end of 2010, they were sitting on almost $27 billion in cash and didn't know what to do with it.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
So Jobs reached out to Warren Buffett, seeking his opinion. Buffett shared 3 ways Apple could spend their extra cash: through acquisitions, dividends, and stock buybacks. An acquisition would mean buying another company. Dividends are an optional small payment companies can give to shareholders, typically once every 3 months, as a reward for buying and holding their stock. This typically benefits companies by attracting more investors. And a stock buyback is exactly what it sounds like, when a company buys its own stock back from investors. This lowers the number of shares on the market, which typically increases their stock price. Jobs had already purchased the Siri app for about $200 million earlier that year, and there weren't any other companies he was interested in acquiring. As for dividends and stock buybacks, these were 2 things Jobs refused to do. In fact, the only time Apple had ever paid dividends was from 1987 to 1995, during Jobs' absence. When asked why he never paid a dividend or allowed Apple to buy back its own stock, Jobs said, "Our goal is to increase enterprise value. Which would you rather have us be, a company with our stock price and $40 billion in the bank, or a company with our stock price and no cash in the bank?" That meant Jobs' priority was strengthening Apple rather than directly rewarding shareholders. But near the end of 2011, Tim Cook took over as CEO, and he had a different plan for the company's cash. Before becoming CEO, Cook had been Apple's chief operating officer, ensuring the goals set by Jobs became a practical reality. Cook was known for his logistics skills that allowed companies to cut costs and maximize revenue. If Jobs was considered a product genius, Cook could be considered a financial genius. The two complemented each other well. In just 13 years, they took Apple from near bankruptcy to generating billions in profit each year. But when Jobs left Apple and gave Cook complete control, the company's focus began shifting from industrial engineering to financial engineering. In 2012, less than 7 months after becoming CEO, Cook implemented Apple's first dividend and stock buyback program, initially planning to spend $45 billion from 2012 to 2015, but they ended up almost doubling that amount, spending $80 billion instead. And Apple's stock price responded, moving from $17 in 2012 to $27 in 2015. This caught the attention of people like Warren Buffett, who was happy to see Cook following his financial advice, something Jobs refused to do 6 years earlier. Buffett was so confident in Apple that he invested $1 billion in the company in 2016. This came as a surprise to Cook and many others, since Buffett was historically against investing in tech companies, saying Berkshire Hathaway prefers, quote, "simple businesses. If there's lots of technology, we won't understand it." So Buffett investing in Apple under Cook and not under Jobs carried a couple implications. That the company's shift toward financial engineering was something Buffett understood, and therefore felt comfortable putting his money into, and that prioritizing stock price could mean putting product development on the back burner. It's no secret that Cook isn't a product person. He allegedly visits Apple's design studio about once a month, while Jobs was there almost every day. A former employee said, "When Jobs was alive, there was a lot of effort toward Steve's coming to the studio today, so we have to have a lot for him to see. When he died, that went away." Changes like these were also felt by Chief Design Officer Jonathan Ive, who previously was considered the most powerful person within Apple after Jobs. But under Cook's leadership, that was no longer true. Some of his decisions were met with resistance, especially if they drove up costs. For example, when they were developing the Apple Watch, Ive felt it was primarily a fashion accessory similar to traditional watches, so he wanted its upcoming introduction to be as extravagant as a high-end fashion show. The event would be held at the Flint Center in Cupertino, which is a fairly small auditorium without much space for a hands-on area. So Ive wanted Apple to build one by relocating 24 trees that lined the plaza and constructing a temporary building in their place. This elaborate plan would cost Apple $25 million. This shocked the finance team, who considered it an unnecessary expense, while the marketing team preferred a more traditional product introduction, showcasing what the watch could